Well, isn't this a surprise? Not only are we getting a Santa free-to-play servant as I thought we would, but we're actually getting a 5-star limited servant in Loey who actually seems to fit the theme of Christmas in that they're at least like snow icicle themed, right? Because I'm thinking of people like, say, Vitra, who we got for a Christmas event, or Saber Astolfo, who I don't really think fits the theme very much at all either. We're actually getting a very fitting servant, I think, for Christmas, and I think that's super dope. And for anybody that predicted that we were going to be getting a part of Sitonai summoned as their own individual servant, props off to you, hats off. And for anybody that predicted Abigail, I mean, it seems kind of, like obvious thinking about it now, because it's like, oh yeah, well, Abigail is like a Santa servant. That probably does fit the theme. I think she does make a very good Santa servant, but I think I was way too in on the Avalon LaFay idea, which is still really weird because obviously whenever they do announce these servants, they do add them to the event boats. You can see they're over here right now, but we don't have any of the Lost Build 6 guys. So me personally, I'm very interested in what the story for this event is going to be, because last year we got some very neat interactions. I think the funniest one was Tiamat going up and giving King Hassan a Christmas gift and being like, please don't chop me up again. Like that was super adorable. I love getting interactions like that. So the fact that we have to clear Avalon LaFay is a little bit interesting for what the story implications of that are going to be. But then we have Abigail and Loey as the main, new characters that we're getting for that. So I guess it technically could be super serious, because if you haven't read Salem, I don't blame you, but, Abigail has Yogg-Sothoth, who is, pretty much arguably like either top 1 or top 2 guy in, Cthulhu Mythos Outer God stuff. And before people start typing in the comments, like, yeah, Azathoth is like the top guy, but I guess you could kind of argue that maybe Yogg is a little bit better because he's the guy that puts Azathoth to sleep, so you can have little arguments about that in the comment section down below. That's the general, just broad strokes of it. But with her being that big of a deal, you could do something kind of sick, nasty, insane, but I don't think they want to do that for Christmas. I mean, kind of seems a little bit weird if you're like, okay, Christmas, now the Outer Gods are going to do something crazy. I really don't see it being anything that insane, but I'm still interested to see what they'll do with it. What cute little story beats we'll get from this, and then maybe some interesting lore tidbits, I guess. But yeah, for people that, want the confirmation, yeah, I had Sitonai's page pulled up over here because a lot of people were very confused as to who Loey was, and it's like, it's a part of Sitonai over here. It's because, alter egos are combinations of different, like, heroic spirits or just spirits in general, goddesses, right? Stuff along those lines. They're basically just a mishmash of everybody. Even though Sitonai is basically just Ilya, because, when you read Lost Bell 2, minor spoilers if you read Lost Bell 2, but then again, she's only there for, like, 2.5 seconds. She literally just references, like, yeah, I was hanging out in some mansion, and then I got summoned over here, got some gods, and yeah, now we're big chilling. I mean, she just calls herself Ilya. The bear is named Shiro. Whenever she's fighting, I guess to not spoil things for people who have not gotten to the finale of Lost Bell 2, but when they're fighting the big bad guy, she literally just summons, like, Berserker as strong as Hercules go, and is able to block the attack for a little bit. It's basically just Ilya, so I'm kind of glad we're hopefully fleshing out some of these other people. This doesn't look like any other Type Moon characters, because I was thinking maybe that would be a bit, but because this is like Stay Night Ilya is the one that they reference, I don't think they would have tried to do like, oh, Loey will have like a Miyu thing or like a Chloe thing, right? I don't think they would do anything like that, because that's, Prisma Ilya, Fate Stay Night Ilya is a bit more, let's just say she's a bit of a nutcase, she's a bit of a crazy person, but yeah, so I don't think they'll try to do anything like that, so I'm kind of glad we'll get more of this, like, Norse stuff fleshed out a little bit, or as much as we can. I mean, I'm hoping for, cute Scotty interactions, because we love Scotty around here. We didn't get the effects for these things, I don't think, which is a little odd. Then again, I was pretty much, like, half asleep during the entire live stream. I didn't even stream it myself over on Twitch, which I normally do, but I was like, dude, I am exhausted. My eyes are, I'm having to tape them open, but as per usual, banger artwork on these. I mean, they look really good. Excited to see what the effects are going to be. Her being a berserker is kind of dangerous because, AoE berserkers always kind of get lumped into farming, territory, so she could be really, really insane. Again, I don't remember if we saw the use single target or AoE, but regardless, we've got really good examples of, really insane single target and AoEs. Think of somebody like Summer Castoria being just absolutely sick, nasty, goated with the sauce as a single target berserker, or even someone as simple as Kentoki, who just has a very simple job and is still considered to be a very top tier servant just because he does that job very well. And then if they end up being AoE, or they can, God forbid, swap between different NP types, you know, you have people like Summer Ibuki, Morgan, Arjuna Alter, Rikyu, who just came out over here on the NA side of things, very strong. So the only thing that they could do that would make her really weird is if they took her like a Nightingale direction and made her a support berserker, which I don't think is impossible to do, but it's kind of like starting in the basement, right? Like your flooring is a lot, you know, lower. You know, it's going to be very hard for you to get there, but you can obviously do stuff like load them up with defensive buffs or make them change their class alignment or something so they don't get absolutely butt blasted by the opponents. Abigail over here being a pretender that's a free-to-play, I do really like this a lot. I do think this will definitely help pan out some people's boxes, because Pretender is still a relatively new class. We do have some individuals in here, but if you're free to play, the only one that you have access to is Eliza over here. She being an AoE is making me really hope that she'll be either a support or a single target. That way, if you're a free to play player, not only do you have access to an AoE Pretender, technically, I mean, if you missed out on the event, you gotta wait for the invocation stuff to come around, but you know, whenever that stuff comes back around, you'll be able to get her for free. And then you'll have access to a single target, right? So that'll be really nice, especially because some people like Talalak don't exactly do the most damage, and you know, if you do end up picking up Summer Sith, she's more of like a survivability, you know, a challenge quest servant. Sorry, I can't speak today. And so giving us a little bit of extra variety will always be nice, especially after getting the free-to-play Van Gogh. I have some pretty high hopes for this one, because, you know, we all kind of got jump scared in the middle of the event when Van Gogh was like, you know what if I just gave myself 1 billion crit damage for no reason? And so she went from being like a really solid free-to-play servant to kind of being insane, to kind of being kind of nuts. So Santa servants, I'm not going to say they have like the best track record, because they're kind of all over the place. You know, people like Santa Altera have definitely fallen off drastically since their introduction to the game, but could be fixed if they gave her a buff. But then you have people like Santa Nightingale, who doesn't seem to have really aged a day. I mean, now she's just a really good, solid plug suit option. You just throw her in there, have her dump 1 billion buffs. Stuff like buff removal resistance will always be really good and timeless to give on your supports. And then you have people like Santa Karna, who's just a very, very solid DPS. I guess you also have people like Samba Kets, who definitely could use a little bit of the help, but who knows? Maybe we will end up getting some buffs for some of these other Santa servants. Please, can I get something for Santa Saber Altar over here? As a huge Saberface enjoyer myself, I would love if this servant could be made a bit more usable, so I'd have an excuse to go ahead and grail them, because I'm working on grailing normal Salter, but I'd like to grail all of them, you know, being the Saberface enjoyer that I am. So if you could toss her something, that'd be really nice. I think also giving something for Santa Jalter over there could also be really, really strong. Martha's fine. Like, I don't really think she needs anything. Nemo just came out, so I think he's also fine. So looking forward to potential buffs that they get, and really chomping at the bit here to see what these guys are going to do, see if there's going to be any little stirs up in the meta here, because do also remember, we will have a new limited servant coming out for New Year's, unless they want to break the mold on that one and say, you know what, nah, no new servant for New Year's. We don't like making money anymore. So I wonder if this is going to be like a very strong servant that'll try to entice people to summon before New Year's, because remember, New Year's brings that new servant, it brings a GSSR, and then it usually brings like a rotating banner that has been pretty good for the last couple of years. Like the one we have upcoming on NA, I'm really enticed by summoning on the Gilgamesh and MHXX one, as both of those are characters that I would like to NP5 at some point. But now we're kind of getting into yapping territory, so you know, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Just wanted to put this out there. Even though it's a little later in the day, I'm like, nah, I'm still meeting my video a day quota. You know, I'm still going to get out there. But yeah, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will catch you guys in tomorrow's video, hopefully sooner than 7 p.m. But with all that being said, you guys have yourselves a nice one, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace, light, guys.